Chavav Amid Bais. Good morning, Ramesha.
Good morning.
Chata Saif Abala Safik. It's like 12, 15 lines down. The line starts Hayasurim. So we said that a woman that gives birth, she has to bring a Chata Saif. Let's say she gave birth, but she's not sure if it qualifies as a real birth. So it says she brings this Chata Saif ala Safik. Safik means for a doubt. We mentioned that if Yom Kippur passes, Yom Kippur doesn't satisfy that requirement, and she still has to bring it. We said if she finds out after the Malika, then I guess if she finds out that she didn't need to bring it, then you bury the bird. Why? Because Malika doesn't.
Or they put it in the ram, like that hole.
I think that was only for birds that were kosher. Here it was only birds that was a korban that was pasal.
Right.
Here
it's a nevela.
Here it's a total nevela because she had no requirement to bring it, and it was slaughtered with her nail, with the kayan's nail, not her nail, with the kayan's nail. It's not a shvita. Okay. The Gemara says like this: Amar Rav, the keeper. So the Mishnah's it doesn't say in the Mishnah what he found out. There's a problem over here. The Mishnah says if she finds out after the Malika, then you bury it. So I guess the understanding over here, if Rav is talking about the Mishnah, means that if she finds out that she definitely did need to bring it, so then it worked. And for some reason, you still have to bury it. So that's going to be a problem here. The Gemara asks, Sihachi mighty cover. If we're talking about that she found out that she didn't need to bring it, and it works, so why to cover? The Gemara answers, because she thought that she wasn't really sure if she needed to bring it. So then there's a possibility that anything that you're not 100% sure is necessary, you could be mesiach das from it and say, I don't know if it's really necessary. She didn't guard it properly from becoming impure. The Gemara says, 1 second. At what point was it not guarded? Imi kara, if while it was alive, sachaya hava, doesn't become impure while it's alive. Only humans become impure while they're alive. If it was at the end, so kamintala, then she already knew, and she's watching it. We have to read the Mishnah differently. The Mishnah must be talking about if you bury it, that she's finding out that she didn't give birth. And really it should be muteres bana, because it's not a korban at all. Rashi points out over here that it's not even considered chulin ba'azara. Chulin ba'azara is a problem. You can't take a mundane animal and sacrifice it in the temple. But this is not considered a mundane animal being sacrificed in the temple. Not because it's not mundane, it is mundane, but because it's not sacrificed. Because the malika was done. So chulin ba'azara is only an isser if it's shchita. So really this should be muteres b'hana. But what type of hana can you get in a vela? You give it to the dogs, I guess. It's not a korban at all. So mighty cover. So why does it have to be buried midirabanan? That's only rabbinic. Maybe people will say you're having benefits from sacrifices. There's a rabbinic decree there. So when is Rav talking about? The Rav says v'keeper. So the Gemara explains v'chiyat ma'derav. Rav was talking about a different case. So we had a problem here. The Mishnah didn't clarify what happened. All the Mishnah said was, if after the Malika she finds out, you bury the bird. The Mishnah doesn't clarify, finds out what? Finds out that she needed to bring it or she didn't need to bring it. She was bringing it because of a doubt. We thought it meant she finds out that she needed to bring it. Because Rav had a statement that says, in its atonement. And it must mean she needed to bring it in its atonement. So we had a question. So why do you bury it? So now we're switching. We're saying that really the Mishnah means that she finds out she didn't need to bring it, and you bury it because of a derabanan. It really wasn't a sacrifice. Really, it should be mutabanan. So what is Rav talking about that says it's an atonement? That's talking about Ali Isha Shevi, a Chata Saif Besafik. It's another, I guess, a Braisa. Is it a Braisa?
This is previous Mishnah.
Previous Mishnah. Yeah, the previous Mishnah on Chafez and Bais. Over here the Mishnah says, a woman that brings a Chata Saif, and before the Malika, she finds out that she gave birth. So you make it in the kosher way. And the Mishnah says, "Shemin shevi al hayda, maybe al hayda," because even if she was going to bring it as a doubt, she brings the same thing as a doubt as she does for a vaday, for a definite. Not like an Asham Tali. What it wants to say is, by an Asham Tali, if you have a doubt, you bring a different sacrifice than if you knew for sure. If you know for sure, it's a Chatas. Asham Tali. If you have a doubt, it's Asham Tali. That's not what we're doing here. We're bringing a sacrifice that should be brought for the Vada. You bring it for the doubt, it's the same one. However, in Mishin Nimla Kanaida, if Naida Shiyalda, if after the Malika she finds out that she gave birth, Rav says, Mazadama, you sprinkle the blood, Umaytzadama, and you squeeze out the blood, Bekipra, and it's a kapara, it atones for her. Probably it's supposed to say, Ummuteres Bachila. Yeah, Ummuteres Bachila, and you're allowed to eat it. So, even though it was after the Malika, Rav says it still works. Rabbi Yechon,
That was a stupid question. How could she not know if she gave birth?
she gave birth, it was an early miscarriage, and she doesn't know if it qualifies as a child or not.
Okay.
So if it's a child, then
That's a
The
possibility.
form looked like a baby.
Right.
Sometimes it's nothing.
could be also could be
Still
two
born.
women. It could be two women gave birth in the morning. They check, and this one is qualifies and one doesn't.
A stillborn would not qualify.
No, it still one would if it would be a full
fetus.
Full fetus.
Hey, Rabbi, you have this.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, we're going to need that in a minute.
Professor always brings stuff.
So that's the statement of Rav. Rabbi Yochanan, same generation but in Eretz Yisrael, he argues on Rav. Rav just said Kipra. Rav says that the atonement worked for the woman that finds out that she needed to bring the sacrifice after the Malika of the bird. It still works because the sprinkling of the blood was done at the time that she knew, or it would have been brought anyway like that. Now we're discussing Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, Asur b'achila. You can't eat it. Why? People may say that a chata sa'if that's brought for a suffix is eaten, and that's going to be a problem. Because if it's brought for a suffix, then the malika on the tzad, on the option that maybe it wasn't necessary sacrifice, the malika would have made it an avela. Now here it turned out after the malika she finds out, but at the time of the malika the word was out that they don't know if this is really a necessary sacrifice. So the sprinkling of the blood, correct, was done at a good time, but the malika wasn't, so it's not equal. Tanya Levi Kavaseder out. I guess both of them agree that the kapara was good. Yeah. Levi says, and then Levi brings a brisa. Levi is the end of the Tanaic period. Levi's up here and Rav is down here, but they were friends. Rav and Levi.
Be careful when you give me things like that.
Why?
No, I thought he gave it to me. That's
Oh,
why
no, Rav and
I
Levi.
took it.
Rav and Levi are we're friends. We're both students of Rabbi. We have sometimes they argue. We have a machlekes. We'll get to machlekes and Rav and Levi. Stay tuned. So Levi brings a brisa that supports Rav. It says Chata Saif Abal Asafik. a sin offering, that's a bird that comes for a doubt. If after the malika she finds out that she gave birth vadai, that it was definite, and therefore she needed to bring the sacrifice. So maza dama, maitza dama, v'kipra, mutaris ba'achila. She sprinkles the blood, she squeezes out the blood, it's an atonement, and the animal is eaten, the bird is eaten. Tani kavasei de Rabbi Yochanan, but don't think that we've just finished, we've satisfied this argument, and we know who the opinion, who the halach is like. It's not so because we have a Bais that goes like Rabbi Yochanan as well. The Bais that goes like Rabbi Yochanan says, Chata Seifa Bala Safik. If until the malika she finds out that she does not need it, then that's all good. This was only for a doubt. She finds out that it wasn't necessary. Or she can tell it to a friend that does need to bring a sacrifice. Let's see the opposite. Before the malika she finds out that she actually gave birth. Vadai. So tasa vadai. Then she brings it as a definite sacrifice. Then it works perfectly because it's the same sacrifice. Now here's where it gets complicated. If it's after the malika that she finds out that she really was required to bring the sacrifice, which she's doing. Okay, now we're missing a word or two over here. In the Shita Mekubetzes, it says, so what do you do now? She finds out she needs to bring it, and the malika was done. So it says, in the Shita Mekubetzes, it says, Maze umatzedama. She sprinkles the blood. I'm adding in words now. V'chipra, and it's an atonement. Basur b'achila. It's forbidden to eat. That's Rabbi Yochanan's opinion. Now we have extra words in here, only added in the Shita Mekubetzes. It says, Mitzedama ba'acher kach naida. Let's say she finds out that she needed to bring it after the blood was sprinkled and squeezed out. This is a later term, a later event, at a later time than the rest of. We didn't have this case yet. So then she finds out that she gave birth. Now it says asura fila bahana, because all of this was done all in doubt. Shala safek ba mitchilasa, because it was brought originally for a suffix. In kippur sveika v'halchala, the suffix is gone and it left, and so she doesn't need to bring another sacrifice, even according to Rabbi Yochanan. But it's not considered a good sacrifice that they could have benefit from. So there's several stages here. In case we have Machlekes Rav and Rabbi Yochanan regarding if the sacrifice could be eaten, and who's the halacha like? Usually it's like Rabbi Yochanan, although I don't see any pointers here to tell me that. Yeah.
It says,
Yeah, he quotes the Rambam. In general, Rabbi Yochanan usually wins against Rav and against Shmuel. The question is if he wins against Rav and Shmuel together. That's a discussion. If they both agree and it's against Rabbi Yochanan, that's a discussion. Some say that even in such a case, Rabbi Yochanan wins.
in other places we have halachas that if there is a suffix, it's still a kapara.
Right.
Just a lot here, it doesn't work.
Right. No, here we're saying that the suffix, according to that it would work. It would work. It does. It is a kapara. See, it's different. Our point is that it's different than the Ashram Talei. Ashram Talei is only for the interim. When you find out anything, you have to bring the real sacrifice. These are not Ashram Talei. This is not what you do in a doubt. This is what you do in indefinite situations. You're doing it because of a doubt. Because maybe it's the same sacrifice. You don't have to bring another sacrifice. That's the idea of this. Okay. This is a interesting Mishnah because it's not, we always have a problem with pronouns. That if you have two possibilities of who the pronoun is referring to, and and it doesn't clarify that, so it really messes up the information. Here it's even worse than that. Here we're going to be using terms that we really don't know what we're talking about, like which one we're referring to, as you'll see. And then the Gemara is going to get into this and make it more complex. Hamafish Bais Slime Lasham. So far everything's good. An asham is supposed to cost 2 slime, 2 coins. We know that from Asham Me'ilas. It says Be'erkecha Kesef. It says it's supposed to cost 2 slime. The Lakach Bohem Shnei Elim LaAsham. Now things start to go a little bit awry, because he's supposed to buy 1 sacrifice, and instead he buys 2. Now, how do you get 2? Well, 1 second. It gets a little stranger. So, Imaya Echad Meham Yafish De Slime. So he only had 2 slime. He buys 2 sacrifices, and one of them is worth 2 slime. Maybe it was a buy one get one free. Maybe
A good deal.
The guy lowered the price for him, or maybe he bought it at a lower. Didn't cost as much, and it improved, and now it's worth 2 slime. One of them is worth 2 slime. There's options here the Gemara is going to discuss. Let's try to prove different points from all these different options. So, Yaakov Lashamai. Remember, he had to bring an asham for whatever reason. Well, he brings the one that's worth 2 slime for his asham, because that's what's there. Basheni Yerad Shistav. The second one has to get a mum because it was purchased with carbon money. And after it gets a mum, it gets sold, and the money goes back to the temple to be brought as donation offerings. Let's say he buys 2 rams l'chulin for mundane purposes. This money was consecrated. He takes the money and he buys 2 rams for mundane purposes. He's not deconsecrating. He's using something that belongs to the temple. That's me'ilah. He's just obligated himself on another carbon me'ilah, and he doesn't even have his first carbon yet. So, echad yafe beis laim. One of these 2 rams that are purchased for chulin purposes is worth 2 slime. Echad yafe asar zuz, and one is worth 10 zuz. Now a sela is 4 zuz. Now the rule is that whenever someone violates me'ilah, he commits me'ilah, he uses something from the holy things for personal use, he has to add a 5th. Now the way we determine a 5th is what we do is we divide the total by 4, and we add 1/4 onto the top, and that becomes a 5th. So for example, if his usage was 8, so you divide it by 4.
It's math, no?
A 4th is
2.
4th is 2. You add it on, it's 10.
You start bringing numbers into it, forget about it.
Okay. So one is worth 10. The 10 could be the violation together with the 5th, right? That's what we're dealing with here. Now normally we understood that if someone violates me'ilah, so he has to add a 5th on afterwards. He has to give it to the temple or something. Here it's going to be interesting. It's not exactly that. So one is worth 2 slime, that could be a carbon, and one is worth 10, which is a carbon plus the 5th. Hayafish de slime Yaakov Lashamai. The one that was worth 2 slime goes for his original carbon. That's what it sounds like, because he was chayiv and asham. Basheni lemi'ilase. And the second one goes for his carbon me'ilah, which is a new carbon that he just obligated himself because he used the money for mundane purposes. Let's say he doesn't buy 2. He buys echad la'asham v'echad l'chulin. He buys 2, but he doesn't buy 2 for chulin. He buys 1 is correct, 1 is for chulin. So he only violated me'ilah on 1 sela. Committed me'ilah. So ima yashal asham yafish de slime Yaakov Lashami. If the asham was worth 2 slimes, so he has his carbon set. Basheni lemilase. The second one he's going to use as me'ilah, but he has to add to it. We have ima sela v'chaimsha, but he has to add a sela v'chaimsha because it's only worth one sela, and it needs to be worth 2 sela, and he needs the chaimish. He needs to have the chaimish as well. My me'ilasei diktani reisha v'asheni lemilasei. In the case that he buys 2 rams for chulin, so he has 2 sacrifices that he needs to bring. One is his original one, and also he has to bring a me'ilah. The title that we gave for the original one was his asham. The title that we gave for the new one is the me'ilah. We're asking, what does it mean, hasheni leme'ilah, the second one is me'ilah. Ilema el asham doesn't mean that is it. When it says me'ilah, it means he has to bring a ram for an asham me'ilais. Lemeimra, does that mean to say the chaimesh b'hadei ayel ma'isila, that you bring the 5th together with the price of the ram? In other words, you add the 5th to the price of the sacrifice. This is a new thing. V'haksiv, but we have a pasuk that he sinned from the holies, he has to pay. You add it on afterwards. It's not the price of the sacrifice. Alma you bring it together with the repayment. Not you don't put the 5th into the sacrifice. And also, ktani seifa. If me'ilah means the sacrifice, the seifa says echad la'asham echad l'chulin. If he uses one of them he buys one for an asham and one for chulin. So he commits me'ilah on one of them. So he brings the first one for his asham, it's worth 2 slime, it's perfect. In the second one he brings for me'ilah v'yavim a sela v'chaimsha. He brings the sela and the chaimesh. Alma chaimesh b'ad gzela ma'isila. He doesn't add the 5th to the price of the sacrifice. It says, and he has to bring together with it a sela v'chaimsha. Not part of the price. Ella. So we have to readjust this. Let's see the bach over here. I have to add in the word my me'ilasei. What does it mean me'ilasei? Me'ilasei means my de'ishani mehektish. De'ishani mehektish. Mi Bais slime. Me'ilasei means the benefit that he had from hektish, which is 2 slime, the afrishen al-asham, that he separated for an asham. We're going to go through the story now. And he purchased 2 elim, 2 rams for chulin. The yafish de slime that are worth 2 slime. Makriv le ayel asham. He brings 1 asham. The yafas sara zuz, that's worth 10 zuz. I'm sorry. The yafas sara zuz, you have to put a comma there. The yafas sara zuz, what's worth 10 zuz, he gives because of what he benefited from hektish. Which that is what he stole, we're calling it stolen, what he used from hektish, plus the 5th. So my me'ilasei, what does it mean to term me'ilah? Gezelai. It means what he stole. So
How come all the stuff about Me'ilah is not in Me'ilah?
Where's Avi? Yeah, it's just a foretaste. I don't know exactly.
It's called a teaser.
First bite.
You big you believe in that.
So you give this one shot.
So he has to go buy a more expensive behemoth. Is that where it's concluding?
No,
or is
so
it
far.
the opposite?
So far, the 10 coins is not actually his animal. It's not the animal. Yeah, these 10 coins is being given as a return for the gazela.
Because he could have bought one worth 8. Now he has to add a komish, right? Now we're up to 10.
Yeah, but
he has to spend it all on the animal?
No.
On what?
No. The second animal is being used because it has the value of 10 coins as the return of his me'ilah plus the 5th, but not as a sacrifice. The sacrifice is going to be something else. That's just returning his gzela. He used the value of 8 coins. He needs to give back 8 coins. besides for an Asham Milah. He has to give back 8 coins plus a fifth, so it's a total of 10. We were looking at it, we were saying, oh, it's going to be his sacrifice. No, we switched, we said, no, it's not his sacrifice, it's just his gzela. It's just what he's returning.
Just in the veil, there's no Echid, there's no Eily, there's no nothing. That turns out to be just a waste, sort of almost a mistake or something like that. Probably as long as you would have to bring it as a carbon, it would be, you think you have to bring the carbon, then you would have Eily. Afterwards not, it's garnished, it's Nevela.
No.
I bring Milah and Nevela.
No, 1 second. 1 second. What he stole from Hektish was what was supposed to be his carbonasha. So when we say over here that it's what he's returning what he stole, he could use that 10 coins to go back and return his first asham that he needs to bring. It's not just money; it's asham that he used asham money. So he goes back. So milase means the carbon asham, right? I think that's the pshat, the first asham. So then why did he say that the 2 coins is his asham? So that must mean the new asham. The 10 coins goes for his first asham. Is that how he's writing it? The 10 coins goes for his first asham, the one that he had to bring originally, because that's the part. That's what he stole. I think that's, and then the 2 coins one goes for the new asham of his asham meilas that he has to bring now because he used the mayu kimta the milasei deresha. How did you translate? How did you establish the term meila in the resha? You translate it as gzelai, to the returning of what he took from Hektish, which was his first carbon. A maseifa. So now let's look at the seifa. The seifa, he only used one of them for chulin. The other one was he brought properly. He uses the 2 coins to buy two animals. One of them he bought correctly, and another one he thinks he's going to use it for his own purpose. Echad lashem, echad l'chulin. So we say like this: if the asham was worth 2 coins, Yaakov lasham, you bring it for the asham. Vasheni lemeila, and the second one is meila. V'yaveima sela v'chaimshin, you bring with it 1 sela and the chaimish. Now here, the asham, obviously, when it says the term asham, it means the first carbon. Because for the second one, he needs to bring a sela. Alma mi'ilasai el ash yavi masela v'chaimsha. Alma mi'ilasai is el asham. Milasai means the sacrifice, and reisha karilei milasai gzelai. In the Reisha, the Me'ila, when it uses the term Me'ila, it's referring to the first sacrifice. Seifa, Karilei Me'ilasa, I'm on top of the page, Zel Asham. But in the Seifa, the Me'ila is called the new sacrifice. So we are using the same term, Me'ilasai, for two different sacrifices. The Gemara says, Reisha, Dahabalei Ayel, Keren v'chaimshai karleila milasa gzelai, in the ratio where he actually has a sacrifice that's worth the amount of the full meila cost, which is 10 coins, so that he calls that meila. He calls that his meila. But seifa d'leihavi ayel, I'm skipping the word ruban, karen v'chaimesh, where the ram is not a karen v'chaimesh. So then, Karilei el asham me'ilasei. Then he calls the new sacrifice the me'ilah. The yavi'ima sela v'chaimsha, and he has to bring a sela v'chaimish. Okay. I hope we got that correct. We have a question now. This question is going to go back and tell us a little bit about how the change in price took place. Because we said that he had 2 coins, two sela. He buys 2 animals, and one of them is worth 2 sela. So this is gonna. By Rabbi Menachem bar Gada. Rabbi Menachem bar Gada has a question. B'kinas chaimshin maushi iskaper. The question is, if someone does me'ilah and he has to add a 5th, and he keeps adding a 5th, and he keeps doing me'ilah, and he's adding up. Now, all of these 5ths, can he combine these 5ths together to buy himself a sacrifice, to use it as his carbon? Because when you do me'ilah, you have to bring a carbon. So, miyam rinan, do we say imtim tzelaymar? It's like a double expression. Adam iskaper b'shvach hektish. That can a person get atonement from shvach hektish, from an improvement of hektish itself? In other words, if he buys something for hektish and it goes up in price, can he get atonement for that? Mishum de katarach kamei. Maybe the reason why he would be allowed to use it is because how did it go up in price? You had to feed it. So it didn't just go up in price in its own. You're not getting benefit from hektish now that it went up in price. You put in that work. Aval hacha delay katarach. But over here, you didn't do anything to get all of these 5ths. So loy miskaper, you can't use it.
He can't use because he didn't actually pay the chomesh.
He didn't do that because it's not his